And welcome back, everybody. Operating a restaurant has been tough for owners these last few years during the pandemic. You know what they've been going up against, right? No indoor dining, spaced out tables, lack of staff, supply chain delays, increased cost of everything from meat to eggs. Some entrepreneurs and chefs who wanted to serve up food without the overhead that comes with a brick and mortar location used what are called ghost kitchens. They're essentially restaurants without the dining space, and they really gained popularity here in Buffalo during COVID. But now one of the largest sites is closing down. A lot of people are asking about this. So joining us live right now to explain this is Tracey Drury. She is a reporter with our partners at Buffalo Business First. Tracey, you always find these incredibly interesting stories, and a lot of people are talking about this one. When did these ghost kitchens start popping up in Western New York? I have to admit, I hadn't heard of them until I read your article. It's an interesting phenomenon.
They've been around for a couple of years. They really did gain popularity during the pandemic because more people were getting food deliveries or picking things up, and either they couldn't or didn't want to eat in. So it was a new business model that helped people who wanted to start up a business, but as you said, maybe didn't have the financing or the wherewithal to open a brick and mortar of their own. And there's been a handful of them in this area, but none that were as large as this one that you mentioned. It was the Kenmore Kitchen site operated by a national company called Cloud Kitchens, and it actually closed in March, but it was set up to accommodate 30 different business models. But from what I'm hearing from some of the tenants, there were never more than 5 or 6 operating there at a maximum. And it was just very difficult. The management wasn't what they were told it would be, and it wasn't the experience that they had hoped for.
It's interesting. There is this one market research firm that predicted these ghost kitchens, this sort of relatively new industry, could become worth $1 trillion by the year 2030. I mean, it really is just kind of exploding in popularity. What do you think it is? I mean, you touched there about the local management and that sort of thing. But I wonder why this one didn't work here, and what you're hearing, specifically from the people who were hoping this could be part of their future, right? They were probably invested a lot of money on this. I mean, is there now a sort of confrontation over why this shut down?
Well, the issue, I guess, is not necessarily with the model per se, from what I'm hearing from these tenants, but more in how it was managed. And there are still a handful of ghost kitchens in operation across the region, but those are more places where there may be only 1 or 2 restaurants in there using the space, essentially renting the kitchen space during non-busy or off hours, and then providing delivery or pickup from that site. And this model, as you say, is growing. The company nationally that ran this particular site is still opening locations in other cities across the country. They have many, many locations in other cities that seem to be doing pretty well, although there has been some criticism of operations in some of those other markets. I'm not aware if they've been shut down the way ours closed, but it is a model that, as you say, is popular, and some people will go in with more than one concept and just have 2 separate menus that they're offering. The customers may have no idea that they're ordering from the same guy who's cooking the next menu over. And in fact, that's how some of the local ones operated.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've only got about 30 seconds left, Tracey, but what's next for these tenants? Do they think they can find another option to continue this?
Well, one of the tenants is waiting and hoping that he might be able to come back if they do end up reopening. 2 of the others have restarted operations. One of them had a brick and mortar restaurant, that's Venus Greek, and so he's continuing operations there and with his food truck. The other one is Season, and she's doing curated experiences through Yelp. She's also renting another kitchen now on the west side and providing some additional access to her menu through a different location. So some are operating and some are still hanging on, hoping that they'll be able to come back later.
Yeah, we definitely wish them all the best. I mean, you think you're being part of something that's pretty much at the fore and is this kind of growing industry, and then hit with this bad news for them. Tracey Drury is a reporter with our partners at Buffalo Business First. Tracey, always great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Michael. Take care.